We're gonna take your head unit from this to this with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and a much bigger screen with a cool interface. We're gonna jump into the unboxing and install, and then at the end, I'll have a chapter noted where I'm gonna go over all of the points of this install that I believe confusion or problems can occur for you. So if you want to diagnose or just get in front of what to look out for, stick around for the whole entire video. But let's get to the unboxing and install so you can enjoy your new head unit. Right behind me is a 2015 2500 HD. So we're gonna open up this box together, see what you get. You're gonna have the best price and the listing in the description of this video so you can order it and get one of these for yourself. We'll ship it to you, and inside the box you get the whole entire bezel and the screen. This thing is massive. This is a huge upgrade. This is gonna be really rad. Then you have all your wiring. This can look really hectic, but we're gonna break it down and make it simple and make sure you have all the confidence you need so that when this shows up to your house, you know exactly what to do and don't have any issues. There will be an option on this specific model to select with Bose or not when it comes to the sound system. So if you check over here, if you see Bose on your door panel, that means you have the Bose system. You need to select that option that you have a Bose amplifier, because if you have Bose speakers, you have a Bose amplifier, and if you don't, you don't. So make sure you select that correctly in the ordering process. If you're wondering why that matters, when you have a Bose amplifier or you don't, it changes the way the wiring harnesses are set up from the aftermarket source. They're gonna take care of this and make it all plug and play for you, so there's no custom wiring. It does come with a screwdriver, a plastic pry tool, non-marring. You have a little adapter here for your factory camera. You have some other cables for aftermarket stereos, USB. You have this cable for your radio. You even have the ability to add a SIM card, so this thing could have its own internet source from your cellular provider. I'm not gonna do that. You could just use your hotspot if you really need to. You have an aftermarket microphone if you wanna do that. And then you have the main wiring harness in here. This looks like a lot, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Your GPS antenna in here. We have this awesome head unit ready to install. We're gonna walk through all the wiring, but I want to have a full transparency disclaimer. These all come from overseas, and there's so many makes and models on some of the popular Fords and Chevys like we're doing in this video. So if something minor happens or you need some type of different plug, most likely you will not, because there's so many of these that have been sold before. But if something does come up, just email our support@karmaspeed.com. We're gonna talk to the manufacturer and figure out exactly what you need, and our team will most likely reach out to you right after you purchase to send us a picture of your factory head unit to make sure we can get in front of any options or custom wiring harnesses you need to make it work when it shows up to your door. So I repeat, be ready to send a picture of your factory head unit if you are reached out to by our support. And if any issues arise, don't panic. Reach out to us and we will make sure you're taken care of if you purchase this through us. We want to make sure you have a pleasant experience. But since we are working with people overseas, you need to have that expectation clear and upfront. But it is worth it. This is a rad upgrade that you're going to use every single day. So don't let that scare you. I'm going to walk you through it, and most of you, if not 99% of you, won't have a single issue. And the 1% that do, we'll get through it together. Step number one, this silver bezel I'm going to pull out. So I'm going to put my hand right here, and then I'm going to get my plastic pry tool deep in this corner and start here. So I'm going to pull out with my hand and pull this and evenly pull this out and get it started. And then I'm going to find the next area where it's gonna give. So like looks like up here. You want to be really slow to move with these types of trim panels. So I'm pulling with my hands almost more to just apply tension outwards, and then just finding those weak spots with the orange removal tool. I'm gonna get my hand under there and just kind of lift up and out at the same time. We're in one piece, that's best case scenario. It's a lot of being patient and pulling and using this to get those spots like I was saying. So we have the seat heater controls. There's gonna be a tab on the inside. You're gonna press in and disconnect these if you have them on your truck. We're gonna transfer these control buttons over to the new bezel. The second step is you're going to see 7mm bolts around the perimeter of the screen. So we're gonna remove those next. I have a 7mm ratchet. There's gonna be a bunch of these bolts, but you're only looking for the ones that attach to the screen. Some of these are for the air vents and stuff, so don't get distracted by those. We're gonna get some grip on this thing and start pulling gently, and it'll pop out. It's got these two clips right here that are like the bronze color. We have a couple of plugs here on the back. There's a tab on this one you press in. This one has the tab on the back side. And then we have the tab for the AC controller right here. We have the factory head unit out. Now we need to get this disk drive out of here. We have two 7mm screws on the outside. And this just slides out. And there's gonna be a tab on top. You're gonna press it, wiggle and release. Our disk drive is now out. This lower section of the glove box we need to remove to get access to the connection point for the factory backup camera that we're going to tap into. We have 4 T15 screws, and I'll have a link in the description to order some Torx bits. So this just goes on my ratchet. 4, so there's one right here. When you look under here, it's very obvious. You'll see the Torx bits. They look like little stars. There's a second one down here. They're pretty long, so just be patient. Now we're gonna open it. You'll see right here and here, there's 2 more. 4 total, this would be the last 2. We're gonna open the top, and then we're gonna grab right here and pull this out. There's a couple plugs down in here, so follow me under here. If you look up in here, you pull these wires out of the way if you get low enough. This gray plug on the left, there's a tab on the top, and you're gonna pull it out, and then you're gonna see the green part right there. We're gonna leave this out. In the kit, you're gonna find this that's connected like this. You're gonna pull it apart. You're gonna get these 2 ready. And then it has the other side to it. You're gonna disconnect the RCA with the yellow, and you're gonna leave that on the side for a second. So let's plug this into the factory location. So way up in here, the male one, plug into the factory spot. Then the female one that came in the kit, you can see here, will plug into that wire. So it grabs that feed, and then you're gonna take this RCA, you're gonna push it back. What I like to do to find where to run the cable is stick a light behind and look where the light is shining through and see if you can see. I got it through this hole right here and then grabbed it with my left hand. Once you have that wire ran, you can grab the other side of it and plug in that yellow RCA, and then this little wire will go to the back of the head unit. These extra wires right here are for an aftermarket backup camera. So you have 12 volt, and then you have some other wires for triggering it on and off, but this is already set up for our factory camera. The next thing we're gonna do is grab our main harness. A little bit intimidating, but we'll do it one step at a time. We shed some blood, we went to war. There's not a lot of information about this setup. It's great, it looks nice. You want factory steering wheel controls, and I learned the hard way exactly what you need to do. I went all over these forums, and nothing was super helpful. I'm gonna walk you through each step, so pay attention from this point forward very closely. I have basically done this 3-4 times now. I don't have a SIM card, I don't need cell service, so this antenna I do not need. This one, do not need. So now what we need to do is get the AC controls onto this, as well as pull the seat heater controls out of this factory bezel and put it onto that. And then we're also gonna take all of these clips right here and move it onto this one. So there's 2 tabs right here, top and bottom. You're gonna push them in and push these out. Then these little blank pieces will come out, push in, and they pop out. This big square right here and the other one on this side, you're gonna pinch them at the same time and push it through. Same with this one. Pinch those big tabs, push it through. Now if we come over here, clipped in, boom. Now we need to get our factory unit, get these AC controls out of here. So I'm gonna apply some pressure, pushing it towards me from this side while I push on these 3 tabs. And then I'm gonna continue pushing, usually gonna dance with these a little bit. So I have it halfway out. I gotta find, Parker helped me with that center one, then release this one, and this end one, and then it comes out. And there's my controls. When you go to push this in, you wanna push these bottom ones in first, and rock it into place like that. You can hear these click, and then lift it up, and then push the top ones. Before you get too handsy with it, flip it over and make sure that this is gapped appropriately. And there we go. Come over here, verify that all my clips grabbed. Looks like this outside one didn't. I needed to persuade it a little bit. This one needs a little bit of persuasion, and it clips in. That way, when grandma starts pressing those buttons, they don't fall through. And there you go. We're gonna need to move these clips over. So if you see, I have like a little pick on one side to grab the side of it, and I'm gonna go on the other side with a flathead, and I'm gonna work them off together because it's got these teeth on it that hold on to the plastic really firm, and they'll kind of fly off. Then you just take it without damaging it, and you slide it on to each corner, and it will clip on all the way. 1, 2 extra that we didn't use. So if we come over here to the new one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. There is a screen mirroring function and being able to charge a device and connect it straight to the back of this head unit. It does come with 2 female USB-A's. One is a 6-pin. It'll say 6-pin on it. And then there's one that's a 4-pin. This one on the back right here, you can look at for yourself which one yours has. This one is a 6-pin, and it goes right there. There's 6 pins in that one. It'll clip in like that, and that's where this female USB can be ran. And you can put an extension on this. There's a couple options if you want to. This is wireless Apple CarPlay, so you don't need this for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. But if you want to do screen mirroring, you have to have it plugged in. And if you want to charge a device through the back of here, you have to plug it in. You're not messing with your factory USB ports in your car. Those are also going to work for charging. But if you want to plug it straight in, just know that this one specific uses the 6-pin. So I'm going to have this handy, and I'm not going to be using the 4-pin. Something else we do not need is this little speaker right here. This truck doesn't need it, so we're not going to use it. The big main wiring harness with your CAN bus connector right here, the green plug and everything. The first thing you're going to do is right up here, this factory plug you're going to pull out, and you're going to plug in the black one that just has these 3 wires attached. There's yellow, black, and white. We already plugged this in, and it is such a snug fit, it ain't coming out, but it did go in successfully. So that's step 1. And then step 2, you're going to pull out the green one, top left. You're going to plug this wire into there. Boom. Then you're going to take the tan one that you pulled out, like we talked about, and it's going to plug into the other big one, the female end. That snaps in. The next thing to do is to come up here to this black wire, pull it out. In the kit comes this antenna wire. It's very specific to this. So you're going to plug it in. It's going to click. You're going to hear it click. And then this is going to go into the back of our head unit for our radio. The next thing we're going to do is get this little dummy connector so we don't have any issues to complete the circuit. And in the middle in the back, you're going to grab this plug right here. This went into the back of the disk drive, and it's going to get the dummy connector on it to complete the circuit. And then I'm going to push this back in there. We're not going to use that anymore. The next thing is I'm going to grab this. You may or may not have. I believe this might be Bose sound system related. If it is, you're in luck. We're going to go up here to this gray plug, and we're going to unplug it. It comes out pretty easy. These wires get in the way a little bit. And you're going to go and plug it into the black clip right there. And then you're going to have this white one for this blue box. That white one is going to be back here on this CAN bus connector. This came with the new radio. It's going to plug into that. So these two are plugged in. The next thing we're going to do is look for this right here. This is a USB, a mini USB. That's going to plug in loosely like that. And then this black wire right here looks like this. We're not going to use it. So that's just going to chill back there. But now we have this. We have our antenna. These are going to go into the head unit. We already showed running the RCA for the camera down here. And then also in the exact same run, in the exact same way, we're going to run the wire for the GPS antenna. So if you lost cell service, you could get GPS somewhere. I'm going to put that down here, and it's ran by my glove box, and we're going to mount that a little bit later. So here comes the cheat code part where we got a little bit of blood and everything else like that. It's related to the steering wheel controls. which it comes with these orange wires. I'm gonna trade sides with Parker filming really quick to show you. This AC vent needs to come out. It's 7mm bolts, just like anything else, and this slides out. You're gonna take this out. You take out the AC vent to run these orange wires through. So if Parker could get close and look through where I ran the wires. And then this panel just pulls off, and you can get your arm in here to go grab them and pull this out on the other side. This is what comes in your kit. And this is the wire that says Silverado on it. Keep that in mind. I'm gonna tell you where to plug that in. So when it comes to this thing right here, this is your adapter. You're gonna disconnect this from itself. There's a little tab on the inside. So this is like an override for your steering wheel controls. This trim piece on the bottom of your steering wheel needs to come off. And it disconnects right up here. It clips in together. So you can get a pry tool and pull it apart. You can see it clips in right here, right here, right here, right here, right here. It's gonna feel a little gross when you pull it apart, but it will come apart, and there's nothing to it but little plastic tabs that hold the top side and the bottom side together. To pull these panels off, top and bottom, you want to start back here and pull off these corners on both sides first. Then you can fully pull off the top piece and then pull off the bottom piece without breaking anything. And if you have one of these Chevys and this wheel slightly wobbles or wiggles while you're driving, when you're up here and you have this cover off, there's a T25 locking type bolt. One on this side, one on the bottom. You turn the truck on and rotate the wheel. If you tighten those two T25s that are right here, it'll tighten this up. And that's totally sidetracked from this, but it fixed my steering wheel from being a little bit wobbly while driving. This right here to adjust the position of the steering wheel, this is really hard to get around with this trim piece. So you're gonna get it loose, and then you're gonna push it out in a way, and it will pull down. So essentially, that little deal sticks out right here. You're gonna bend this out enough to get it out and around this guy right here, and then this will fully slide off. On the bottom of the clock spring, I already loosened it, but you're gonna pull out this plug right here. Then you're gonna get your adapter, plug the female side into it. It's gonna clip in, and then you have this new male plug, and you're gonna go up underneath these wires. It's a really tight fit, go behind. And you're gonna plug it into your clock spring. It's gonna click in. And then this is all gonna chill right here, and you run those orange wires behind this panel. Now that those are plugged in, that's gonna give you your steering wheel controls. And now I can put this back. When you're putting the trim piece back on, if it's not fitting in right and things don't line up right here, what I want you to do is remove the top piece. It's just plastic clips. Remove the top piece. Then right in line right here, there's two fang looking teeth, like plastic pieces that line it up. Mine was bent on this side and it was sticking out. Straighten that out, get it in straight. Make sure that it's locked in around here, right? Because this was holding me up because it wasn't wrapped around the turn signal right, the trim piece. Once you have all that lined up, they will sandwich back together appropriately. Then you can grab this piece right here, lift up, and get those tabs back into their holes, and that will clip back in, and you'll be good to go. Our orange wires are through here. You're gonna grab your CAN bus adapter, the red thing, and you're gonna have this wire off it. It's gray and black. You're gonna find the orange wire, the one that has the Chinese writing on it. You're going to clip it into that one. Clip it in. In the big long main wiring harness, this little black tip, there's a green wire. It's a pretty long cable. That's gonna connect to the one that reads Silverado. The GPS antenna that we ran with our yellow RCA right here for the camera that goes on the lower glove box. I'm gonna take off the 3M backing tape, and then anywhere out of the way this will work. It's right here behind my hand. I'm gonna take my air vent that I had to take out for the steering wheel control. I'm gonna find its place, ease in by hand. Snug. Snug. We're gonna set our head unit down on our lap, and we're gonna start plugging things in. I'm gonna grab my radio antenna. That's gonna get pressed into right here. Then I'm gonna grab my RCA, and I left it plugged in. Looks like a 10-pin one That goes in right there. Let's talk about details for backup cameras. The higher trim level model trucks are gonna have this adapter that we installed. You're gonna have the RCA come out of the back of the head unit, and this is the adapter that is under the glove box. That is what connects to this, like this. You have the CCD AVIN, right? And it goes under your glove box. If you have a lower trim model truck, more than likely it's gonna be set up like this. The main power cable and harness that has all the long colorful wires, it has a yellow RCA that says CCD AVIN. That's what you're gonna connect to the back of the head unit. You are not gonna be going down there. This big box, I'm gonna go ahead and stick back where that CD player was. This cable is the GPS antenna. If I come right here, it's one of these red guys, protector tabs. This guy, threads on here. On the rest of the main mess of wires, the big harness, there's another white clip. This is a 8-pin. This one's gonna go right here. Clip that in. The 6-pin female USB for the screen mirroring and whatnot, I'm gonna take it by my hand, run it through the back, follow by my GPS wire and grab it with my right hand and pull it through so that I can put it in that glove box. But I need to leave enough slack because that goes right into this 6-pin and that clips in. Grab your main wiring harness again, find the big black plug. This is your main power and everything else like that. That gets plugged in. Make sure our RC is plugged in. So this harness, the secondary harness, that comes with this square on it, the harness plugs into that one right there. It's the only one it will fit in on the back of the head unit. On this harness, you'll find this little black plug with the black and blue cable. Then you come over to the fan for the computer on this head unit, and it's gonna plug into this one. You'll notice there's 2 pins on each one, so they're gonna work together. I don't have 2 hands right now, I'm solo, but those are them connected. Just trust the process. I wanted to do some testing, the microphone on the actual unit, or if we would need to install this one. I don't usually use these microphones or prefer them, but this one actually works better than the one on the head unit, so let's talk about how I'm gonna install it. I don't really love doing these because I don't like having it up here. I mean, you can install them like this, and it'd probably sound pretty good. I just don't like having that there. It really bothers me. I don't talk on the phone enough. So you can do that and run the wire. Another option, which is kind of cool, is I pop this panel off right here, and I'm gonna slide this clip on right here, and then angle this towards me and run this cable underneath this trim panel, similar to the orange wire, back up into the back of the head unit. Now, if you come look over here, the secondary harness right here with all the RCAs, it has the input for the microphone. You can just plug it in and run your wire. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna follow the same path as our orange wire for the steering wheel controls down here. These orange wires show for your passenger, even when the trim's all the way put back together. So I have some of this black Tessa tape. It's kind of on like a lot of German cars, or you can just use black electrical tape. But I'm gonna wrap those cables in this so it's discreet. And the microphone is mounted solid right here, and the wire just goes back here. All right, then the gray plug on the bottom, it's your AC controls. And then you're gonna connect each of your seat heater cables. Clip, clip. And then I'm gonna walk all these cables in. There are screws here, but they're no longer, because this one just clips in. When you're pressing this in to get it to snap in to the dash, it is such a tight fit. And what I have found, have it sitting here, from the top, pull it down, pull your wires up towards the center as high as possible, then press in the top, then at the bottom, put your hands right here and your thumbs right here and pull this together and try and really pop it in there, and then you can press these outside ones in. Make sure you don't pinch this seat heater cable. I pulled my female USB through here, and then you pop the glove box back into place, and then you can just close it. It'll be good there. Now I'm gonna put each of my Torx bits back in here to mount the glove box. Glove box back in, check. does come with a screen protector, which you can pull off. When it comes to the fit and finish, instead of that silver, you have this black. It does blend in nice, and it took this 2015 all the way to 2025. When it comes to screen quality, I'm confident that you will be extremely impressed. You can see up close on the camera, it doesn't look super pixelated. It's a very clean finish. So you can function Apple CarPlay like this, or if we hit car, if you go down, hold down Wi-Fi, use Wi-Fi. You could connect to your hotspot on your phone and sign in to Google Play Store because these are ran on Android software. While YouTube's updating, I'm gonna install Onyx Off-Road because I use that when I go out to the desert. And there you go, YouTube video full screen. You'll notice that there's no buttons here to change the volume. You can use the steering wheel control, but what do you do because there's no buttons? Well, that's kind of stinks for your passenger. If you pull down, there's a volume button here that you can do. And that would be kind of a pain for some people. So if you go to settings, general, navigation bar buttons, you can do bottom where it has power, plus, minus, mute, left, it's over here, right, it's over there. So when you go home, it'll always be over here on the bottom, and then you have buttons on this. I think it's cool to hide it because I'm really the only one controlling it. In worst case, you can slide down and change it if you want. In the event that this thing starts bugging out, if and when it will, way down the line, maybe it's super hot, you can clear memory, clear the cache on it just like a computer, or you can restart. Confirm restart, okay. Between clearing the cache and restarting it, it will solve most of your problems, if not all of them. That's just what happens when you're in Android. The truck does have to be on and running to test the backup camera. And if yours doesn't work, go to settings, camera, and for this truck specifically, you need it on the NTSC mode. Settings, camera, NTSC. There's gonna be a bunch of them here, a bunch of them there. Not PAL, it doesn't work. NTSC. Then you can adjust all this, which is cool. That secondary wiring harness, the only thing we really used was the fan plug-in to power it. You'll see in the apps here, there's a little app for always on. You can do it at a certain temp, start recording the volume level. I'm just gonna leave it always on to keep the CPU as cold as possible so that this thing is always performing its best. The only thing on the steering wheel that's editable to put custom buttons on is if you do the end call button or the voice button. So I made my end call button the mute button. You would just hit start, you'd hit mute, and then you press the button here and it will register it, and then you can hit end. You can program that button to do any of these things, or the voice button. When you swipe down and you hit EQ, you're gonna be able to choose any of these. And then you can go to bass boost, you can choose what hertz on each side. You can bring that up. So I have it at 63, I have it up just a little bit, and the bass sounds pretty nice. You can change your zone this way. You have your sub gain. You can have a bass filter if you want. After you install it, if your buttons on the skip forward and back are backwards on your steering wheel, let me show you how to fix it. Settings, factory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you're gonna scroll all the way down to switch the steering wheel up and down, and mine I had to change it to open. Now it works correctly. So the button on top is skip forward and the button on the bottom is skip backwards. There's quite a few different trim models and things, and I want you to have as much confidence as possible when you go to do this install before you purchase. So let's go over some things. When you purchase this, make sure you select if it is a Bose sound system or not, and you check by looking at the door panel, specifically the speaker, to see if it says Bose on it on these trucks. There's a blue box on the wiring harness for this head unit that you have if you have the Bose system. Different trim models of these trucks have the reverse camera wired differently. With this LTZ, you do use that harness to tap into the spot under the glove box. There is an alternative way to wire the reverse camera with the main wiring harness included on the back of the new head unit. If you want to test the reverse camera or the seat heaters, the engine has to be running. Both of these do not work if the ignition is on only. That threw me a loop, and I thought some things were not working when they were the whole entire time. I just needed to run the engine because I was testing everything with just the ignition on. Pushing the whole entire bezel on in place with all the clips around can be very difficult. It fits very snug, which is great when you get it on, but getting it on can be a pain. It felt like I had to squeeze the top and bottom together a little bit to like shorten it to get it to slide into those spots. So make sure you look around all sides, get your flashlight out. The best thing you can do is reach and pull all the wires out of the way and then start pushing and finding those places. I really didn't do a good enough job going behind on the top, pulling the wires out of the way, and then kind of pushing everything into place and then finding the spots to push the bezel in. It fits so snug, but you will be so happy once you get it in. When you are wiring in the steering wheel controls for the volume and the skip, and then you can use the voice command and cancel button, hang up button with the phone, you do not need to remove the steering wheel. You actually remove the bottom trim piece on the steering column, and you're tapping into where the wires connect to the clock spring, and you're putting in the wiring harness adapter there that you'll see in the process. There's 3 main segments. You have the main harness for power and all the controls. You have all the white plugs, the little ones that plug into each their unique spot on the back of the head unit. And then you have the secondary harness that the only thing I use on that is the microphone attachment, the 3.5 millimeter female end, and the cable coming off of that to power the actual fan for the computer on this. CarLink app on this is either Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or screen mirroring. So when you click CarLink, you can click a button in the corner and select if you want it to do CarPlay, Android Auto, or screen mirroring. And if you want to do screen mirroring on your device, you have to connect it via USB cable, the cable that we put in the glove box. To watch streaming apps, all you do is connect it to your mobile hotspot on your phone, and then you use the apps from the Google Play Store, which is like the Android App Store, like YouTube, Netflix, any of the apps that you want to use. You can search the Google Play Store and then stream video that way full screen. These harnesses and everything included is plug and play, but it does allow you to connect aftermarket speakers as well as aftermarket multiple cameras if you wanted to. There's tons of capability with these outside of just what comes from factory with your vehicle. So don't be overwhelmed by the cables and the wiring harnesses. It's just giving you a lot of options, and in this video, you get walked through of what you really need from a plug and play standpoint.